Good morning, students. Today I am going to start your second poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, which is written by Stephen Spender. First of all, we will know about the poet. Sir Stephen Spender is an English poet, novelist, and essayist who concentrated on the themes of social injustice and class struggle in his work. He left University College, Oxford, without taking a degree and went to Berlin in 1930. Spender took keen interest in politics and declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. This poem is written during the time of civil rights movement in United States. His political voice is resonating throughout the poem. This is the picture of slum classroom at the time. The poem paints the picture of slum classroom where the students are deprived and weak. The dim and the foggy classroom in slum offer little hope for change or progress for the lower class students. This does not clearly name of any country, location, race, or citizenship. The poet wants to shed light on social injustice worldwide. Now, the summary of the poem. The poem starts with a detailed description of the pathetic condition of the children who study in school located in slum. These children are malnourished and sick. The poet compares them with rootless weeds. Weeds means wild plants. It seems as if their physical and mental growth had stopped. They have no exposure to the real world. These children are unkept, hungry, weak, and undernourished. They are bony and carry the legacy of poverty and diseases. They are living in the environment of utter hopelessness. They are given a glimpse of outside world through the picture hanging on their classroom walls. This seems to be totally meaningless to them. The map on the wall proclaims a world which is vast and limitless. But the world of these children who are living in the slum is limited to slums. The picture of Shakespeare, valley, building, domes, etc. have no meaning for these slum children. All these are out of context for them. In the last stanza, the poet urges the stakeholder, that is, inspector, visitor, and the governor, to realize their moral responsibility to these children. They must do something to unshackle these children from the bond of poverty and ensure them equal rights and opportunity. They should get education and become a part of the real world where they should be entitled to social equality. Now, children, we are going to start the poem, the first stanza. Far, far from gusty waves, these children. Far, far from. FFF means alliteration device is here. Gusty waves means beautiful bounties of the nature, strong waves. These children who are living in the slum area. The faces of these children are compared to the rootless weeds. Weeds means wild plants. The hair toned round the parliament face, they are unkempt, their hair scattered round their face. The tall girl with the way head down, the tall girl who was sitting over there were depressed and disappointed. The paper-seeming boys, the boys who are malnourished, they are linen thin, having the bulging eyes like a rat. The stern, unlucky hires of twisted bones. They are the hire. Hire means varis of the twisted bones or deformed body, and telling that they have been inherited these diseases from their fathers and forefathers. His lesson from his desk. They are not learning any lesson from there. At the back of the dim classes mean backward classes, they are unnoted. No one noted them. No one noticed them. Though they are sweet, they are young, they are having every quality, every emotions. His eyes lives in a dream. The child who was sitting in the classroom having a dream in the eyes to enjoy the childhood, to see the squirrel games, to play outside games and other type of games also. Now children, the paraphrase of the stanza. The children are sitting in the classroom of a slum school. They are far, far away from the wind of sea and waves, means they are far away from the beautiful bounties of nature. The disorderly, unkept hair on their faces look like a rootless wild plants which are having no use, means they have been scattered from the mainstream of the society. The tall girl who is sitting there is depressed, disappointed. She keeps her head down. The boy who is sitting in the corner is very thin, undernourished. His eyes are bulging out like those of the rat. His growth is blocked and the body remains undeveloped. He inherits twisted bones of his parents. Actually, he is not reciting a lesson from his desk. He is imitating the naughty diseases of his father. A sweet boy sitting at the back of the dark room is unnoticed by the society. Dreams seem to be alive in his eyes. No doubt, his dreams were there on his eyes. His dreams of outdoor games, he wanted to play the outdoor games. He was dreaming from the dull and drab classroom that he will go outside and enjoy his childhood games. These are the slum children, and they are looking happy but emancipated. The girl with her way head down, and this is disappointed or depressed. These are children who are not getting the full meal in entire life. So gusty means blowing strongly. These are some difficult words. Rootless, uprooted. Weed, useless, white plants. Weighed down, depressed due to burden. Paper seeming means looking lean and thin. Stunned means underdeveloped. Reciting means illustrating or telling. Or Naad means naughty. Tree room, place made in the tree. Now children, second stanza of the poem. On sour cream wall, donation, Shakespeare head. Here writer wants to tell the shabby condition of the slum school classroom. And he also want to tell that these children are getting some gift as a donation. There are so many pictures hanging on the wall like Shakespeare head. And here in this stanza, poet want to compare two worlds. One is the privileged one and one is the underprivileged. Cloudless at dawn, civilized doom residing all city. Cloudless means without difficulty, civilized by a privileged society which were there in the cities. Built flowery Tolstoy Valley, Trolleys Valley means these are the beautiful bounties of the nature talked by the Shakespeare in his poems. Open-handed map, the full map of the world. Avoiding the world's edge world means the beautiful mainstream world map was hanging in that slum classroom, and yet these children, and for these children, these windows are never open towards this beautiful world, and not this map their world. The map which was hanging in the classroom was meaningless for them, and their world where the future painted with the fog means the world is, there is no privileges in their world, and their future is also uncertain. A narrow street sealed with a leaden sky. They were living in the narrow street in the slum area, which has been covered with the leaden sky. Leaden sky means dark bluish sky, which is made by the fog of poverty and the smoke of illiteracy, and become the leaden sky. Far, far from alliteration, far from river, caves, and starry world, these children are far away from the beautiful bounties of nature. Now, the paraphrase of the second stanza. Here, the poet has given a stark contrast between privileged and non-privileged society. The gift which are given as a donation and the pictures of Shakespeare's head are hung on the unpleasant creamy wall of the school. But they are useless for these children. There are other pictures hung on the wall too. In early morning, the sky is cloudless. High domes of the buildings of the civilized world shine in every city. Music of bells and fragrance of flower pervade in Troy Valley. The map of this world is made and reshaped by those in power. They partitioned it and imposed their world on others. For these children, the world painted in the picture is meaningless. Their own dirty and unpleasant surrounding from their own world. The world where they are living is the world of these slum children. They live in a world where the fog of uncertainty dominates their future. They are doomed to live in this narrow street, closed in by the bluish gray sky. They have to live, though they do not want to live over there, but they have to live in that slum area. Their world is far away from the river, caves, and starry world. They cannot leave their slum area. They cannot come out and mingle up in the mainstream of the world. That is why they have to stay there in the slum area. That is why the poet says that the world is far away from the river, caves, and starry worlds. So children, I hope you understand this stanza. This is the slum area, and this is the picture of privileged society. Look at the contrast between them. How shabby the children who are living in the slum area are living in this type of house, and how beautiful houses are there for the privileged society. This inequality has been discussed by the Spender in his poem. Sore means unpleasant. Shakespeare's head, picture of creative person. Civilized dome mean institution of civilized world. Trolleys Valley, the valley of Troy in Austria, which is full of flowers. Open-handed map, The other world is important, rich and civilized people. Sealed in, closed in, lead sky, bluish gray sky. So that's all in this class, children. The next part of the poem will be discussed in the next class. I hope you are able to understand this poem. Children, please read this poem nicely once more so that you can able to understand. Thank you.